For me, I thought it awesome that Amy Schumer hosted Saturday Night Live and gave the Jewish joy that we absolutely needed. And she did so in response to the increasing amount of anti-Semitism that has begun proliferating American culture. She absolutely took a dig at Kanye West, in her monologue, and she entered into a sketch on matzo ball soup. Yay! The next week, of course, we all know what happened. David Chappelle appeared, oh the joys, with his own rendition of what is anti-Semitism. Number 2, Jewish candidates made a strong showing in 2022 midterms. If you are unaware, Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro was elected governor of the state after campaigning that made so much of his Jewish values, and that sustained implicit attacks on his attendance of a private Jewish academy. Returning to office were Jewish governors J.B. Pritzker of Illinois and Jared Polis of Colorado, while Lee Zeldin ran a strong yet unsuccessful, sadly to say, campaign to become the governor of New York. Senator Chuck Schumer, also of New York, did maintain yet another term in the Senate for a 5th time. Number 3, this past year marked the 100th anniversary for bat mitzvahs ever, and the 50th anniversary of the institutionally ordination of women, when Judith Kaplan became the first American girl to have a bat mitzvah ceremony in March 18, 1922 at the Society for the Advancement of Judaism. She had no idea that her actions would change Jewish communal life forever. But something unexpected happened along the way, because there were other girls who came up on the bima and also wanted a bat mitzvah, and other women who decided that they wanted to embrace synagogue leadership, ritual honors, and eventually enter the rabbinate, where we find Sally Priesand coming along and becoming the first woman to be ordained by a major rabbinical seminary and the Reform Movement's Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion Cincinnati campus, June 3rd, 1972. Something that most feared would spark a massive revolution, which what I think sparked an evolution, where we have seen women integrate themselves into all areas of the rabbinate. Number 3. As some of you know, because I gave a sermon about it this past summer, the URJ ethics investigation, the third of our movement in general, main institutions, was released, leading to a great deal of reflection as well as initial movement toward important change. Our seminary, Hebrew Union College, the Jewish Institute of Religion, our Rabbinic Association, the Central Conference of American Rabbis, and their congregational arm of the movement, the URJ, the Union for Reform Judaism, each found that they all had long-standing patterns of sexual abuse, discrimination, and misconduct. Investigations were taken underway by a third party, and it is clear that together we should maintain and guarantee that sacred places be a place of holiness, so that our spiritual, communal, social, education, and professional homes can be held to the highest levels of kadosh. Number 4, this one made me super sad. When my friend Charlie Citron Walker, who was the rabbi at Congregation Beth Israel, was taken hostage in Corleyville, Texas on January 15th, when a gunman entered into his synagogue, preying on the fact that he decided to let in what appeared to be a homeless man, who he offered a cup of tea to provide warm shelter. Hold 4 people hostage in a standoff which lasted 11 hours. All were okay, thank God, except for the shooter. Number 5. I think I did number 5. I got confused. Yeah. Deborah Lipstadt's confirmation as special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism went through finally. Emory historian Deborah Lipstadt has been confirmed by the U.S. Senate as a special envoy to monitor anti-Semitism in the position by the State Department, holding the rank of ambassador, described by the White House, quote, a renowned scholar of the Holocaust and modern anti-Semitism. Go, Deborah Lipstadt. I don't know if you've ever read her books. I encourage you to, or watch her TED Talk. She's incredible. Number 7, Vladimir Zelensky. Rising to the occasion and becoming a worldwide symbol of courage and resistance. This courageous Jewish president of the embattled Ukraine put his stamp on the conflict after Russia invaded his country in February. Zelensky said that he had refused offers for safe asylum for himself and his family, declaring, I need ammunition, not a right out of the Ukraine. Zelensky's Churchillian stance as a wartime leader has rallied his nation against the brutality of the Russian assault and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Number 8, the Israeli election. Dun, dun, dun. In November, Israel's 5 elections in less than 3 years finally produced a clear result, ending a stalemate that began in the spring of 2019. In the 4 previous rounds, Benjamin Netanyahu and his Likud party had been unable to form a government. This was due to the defection of some of those on the right whose disdain for Israel's longest-serving prime minister caused them to bolt. But the failures of the multi-party coalition led by Naftali Bennett and Yair Lapid and the growing strength of Netanyahu's right-wing religious allies finally enabled him to forge a stable majority government before the end of the year. The star and anti-hero of the election season, why, none other than Otzma Yehudit's Itamar Ben-Gvir. Netanyahu's detractors in Israel and abroad did their best to demonize Ben-Gvir in his former support of the late Rabbi Meir Kahane, but his popularity amongst Israel was undeniable, and he has appeared to garner so many votes stemming from his unapologetic defense of Jewish rights and vow to combat both crime and terrorism with tough measure. Interesting side note, Reform Rabbi Gilad Karib was able to maintain his position as an MK in the Knesset. He is the first Reform rabbi to serve as a member of the Knesset. Number 9, Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion ends its full-time rabbinical training in the Cincinnati campus. This caused me to be super sad, as I was ordained at that campus. The academic flagship of Reform Judaism, established in 1875, will phase out rabbinic training in Cincinnati in April after a bitter debate that consumed its board of governors and rabbis in the CCAR. The board approved a plan that will require all rabbinical students to study at the HUC campus in New York or LA going forward. The Cincinnati Rabbinical School program will be officially phased out in 2026. And lastly, number 10, the U.S. in the Holocaust. Just when he thought Ken Burns couldn't go anywhere else, he decided to address an interesting conversation. A PBS series directed by Ken Burns, Lynn Novick, and Sarah Botstein comes along to skewer the focus. As the title suggests, the 7-hour documentary spotlights the American reaction, or lack of reaction, to the destruction of European Jews during World War II. By taking a step back to watch a nation with lofty ideals prevaricate in the face of genocide, the facts and the dates that may seem root to those of us who have studied this atrocity brush aside the cobwebs in alarming and enlightening ways. May our 2023, when I make this list next year, be one full of more joyful things than this one.